The bell above the door jingled as Mark, a young man in his 20s, locked up the clothing store for the night. It was his routine to work late shift and close the store by himself. As he walked through the aisles, turning off the lights and straightening the hangers, an uncertain feeling washed over him. He couldn't shake the sensation of being watched, even though he was alone. After finishing his task, Mark headed to the break room to grab his jacket. As he glanced back into the store, his heart skipped a beat. A mannequin that had previously stood in the corner of the room facing the entrance of the store was now positioned directly in the middle of the aisle, turned around 180 degrees, facing the break room. Cold sweat trickled down Mark's forehead as he questioned his own memory. Had he really missed the mannequin before, directly in the middle of the aisle? Shaking off the unnerving incident, Mark locked the store up and went home for the night. But the next morning, when he arrived to open up, he was greeted by a scene that froze him dead in his tracks. All the mannequins in the store had shifted positions overnight. They were all huddled up together in a circle, as if whispering secrets to each other. Mark quickly snapped a photo of the bizarre scene with his phone, determined to show his boss and demand an explanation. But when he approached his boss, Mr. Johnson, with the evidence, he was met with dismissive laughter. "Mark, those mannequins are just objects," Mr. Johnson said, waving his hand in the air. "It's just your imagination running wild. Don't let it get to the best of you. Focus on work." Doubt gnawed at Knox's mind, but he reluctantly accepted his boss's explanation. Maybe he was overreacting. Perhaps it was all the figment of his imagination, amplified by the late hours and airy atmosphere of the store. However, the uncertain events only intensified as the days passed. Mark began to notice subtle changes each morning when he arrived. Mannequins would be in different positions or even swapped between different sections of the store. One night, as Mark was closing the store, a sense of foreboding engulfed him. The lights flickered, and each time they came back on, mannequins were closer to him than they were previously. Their lifeless eyes fixated on him. Panic surged through his veins as he fumbled with the keys, desperately trying to escape their unyielding gaze. The lights started to flicker in longer intervals, and then abruptly cut completely for what felt like eternity, plunging the store into prolonged darkness. Mark's heart raced as he stood frozen, his breath shallow and quick. The silence was shattered by a sudden metallic scrape, followed by the sound of dozens of footsteps. In the dim moonlight, filtering through the windows, Mark saw silhouettes of mannequins sprinting directly towards him while convulsing and twitching. Terror paralyzed him as he started hearing the sounds of laughter echoing through the store and getting closer and closer to him. Finally, the power surged back on, illuminating the store once more. Mark found himself surrounded, encircled by mannequins. Their blank faces now had malicious grins. Their cold hands reached out, fingers almost reaching him. The lights cut out one final time that night. When Mr. Johnson arrived the next morning to open up for the day, he was greeted by an eerie sight. Confusion creased Mr. Johnson's face as he stepped behind the register. There, seated on the stool, was a mannequin dressed in the store's employee's uniform.